Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Mystic Monday. I'm so glad you're here. If you are new and you're a seeker and an empath, and you are here to develop your spiritual gifts, live your purpose, and heal at the level of your soul, you are in the right place. I am Reverend Ashley, interfaith minister, shamanic energy medicine practitioner, and mystic, here to bring you a weekly message to not just hear about spiritual wisdom and have this overload of content and mental information, but to actually live your spirituality, to live your power, and to walk in Ayni, a Quechua word, a shamanic word that means right reciprocity, to walk in Ayni with your soul. I used to chase happiness in pot, in romantic love. I used to chase love and chase and feel hungry for peace. And I was taught by society that peace comes through wealth accumulation, that peace comes through things that are outside of me. And the mystic remembers. This is a remembering, not a new piece of information. The mystic remembers that we can only feel true peace when we are courageous enough to live, to act upon the soul's truth. Faith without works is dead. So if you are here in your body to live out your calling, not just think about it, not just sit on the sidelines, not wait for the perfect moment, but if you are an action taker, then you're in the right place. And this space is your sanctuary to support you, to light a fire under you, to move you in the direction of your soul's truth, not my truth, your soul's truth. This is the place to remember. Teaching number one, as we take our deep breath together. True love, true peace can only come from alignment with your soul. You can have everything in the world, but if you've sold your soul, so to speak, if you don't have that union with you, your unique essence, then you won't have anything. Then you will still feel an ache. And when you have Ayni with your soul, not perfection, but when you live in a way that says, my truth is number one priority, when you live in that way, you are not rocked by life as much. You are not rocked by change, but you actually invite change in. You don't just stay in misaligned relationships, but you're devoted to the truth. And I prayed in the past, God, if this is not the person you've chosen for me, remove him. You have a fire to live your truth. And if you're just stepping onto your spiritual path and you've experienced, or maybe you're deep in your spiritual path, but you've experienced years, weeks, months, whatever it is, of choosing comfort over your truth. For me, I smoked pot every day for 7 years, and I went through this amazing, painful, very fascinating experience of addiction. Or maybe you were in the wrong relationship for many years. And yes, we get to come out of those experiences with greater wisdom and wholeness if we choose to heal. But we also want to resolve the misalignment. And I want to give you the biggest and best practice I know for that. And that is a vow to yourself. I made a vow to myself when I left a 4-year toxic relationship. And I made a vow and I said, Ashley, I will never abandon you again. This moment is a new, not just a new chapter, but a new book. And you, as a sovereign soul with God-given free will, you can put your foot in the ground. You can draw a line in the sand. In fact, God's waiting for you to decide to raise your standards. To say from this moment forward, I am no longer willing to put anything ahead or in front of or on top of my own alignment with my truth, because I know and I've remembered if I don't have that, I don't have anything. And this is a practice. You literally write it in your notebook, sign it, and date it. From this moment forward, I am putting myself first, or I am not going to be in a situation that slowly kills me. And that's a key to experience the change that you've been praying for. God only moves when we move. The angels, the divine, these beings of benevolent love that can help you, they wait for you to ask for help, to move. You take one step, and your higher power, whatever you call it, however you believe it to be, takes 100. So, my question for you this week is, what is the courageous decision that is going to guide your actions from this moment forward? What is your number one value? Your values drive your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results. And if you're on the mystic's path, then you know it's an inside game. Then you know it's a decision and an energy tweak that happens on the inside. The external world is always going to reflect your level of awareness. It's going to reflect your love and your intent. So if you want change, if you're ready for change, the biggest key is to decide to move differently. If you shift one thought, one behavior, you are opening a door that you've never opened before. You are allowing life to show you something different. So that is the first piece of today's teaching. And the second piece is about intuition. So if you're new here, then welcome into interfaith mysticism, where we see that there's a golden thread in every path. There is light and shadow in every single path. There is beauty in religion, there is beauty in New Age, and there's a big old shadow to New Age, and there's a big old shadow to religion as we know it as humans on this planet. On earth is duality. Everything has both light and shadow. Let me give you an example. One of my greatest gifts, if not my greatest gift, is my ability to serve others with my intuition, to feel, to relate, to help people heal. I feel people's hearts. I don't take it on, but I feel it. And my biggest struggle has really been my own emotions, feeling low, feeling high, feeling low, not being able to control my state. And feeling deeply is a gift, but it also can really be an incredible challenge because you feel bombarded by life. So the light of that gift is I get to help people. My relationships are so deep. My father said to me when I was a child struggling with my emotions, he said, Ashley, you're going to develop really deep relationships in your life because you feel so deeply. And he was right. I also hated my hair when I was young because people called me puffball and it was very big. And he said, Ashley, one day you're going to love your hair. One day you're going to love your hair. So my dad was right on multiple things. He really taught me that there is a gift in the struggle. Everything has both light and shadow. And a shadow of ascension focused or obsessed spiritual traditions. What do I mean by that? Traditions that are focused on ascending to higher dimensions. The traditions that feel that we're trapped in matter, that we need to get away, that it's somehow wrong or less than to be carnal, to be human, to be in these bodies. They have demonized the temporal experience. And I call this patriarchal spirituality, where there's a focus on transcending matter. Nothing is wrong with that, but it's incomplete. When you focus on transcending matter, you abandon your human. You abandon a part of yourself. So many spiritual traditions will actually say that the body's a prison. That to me is deeply offensive. The body's a prison. Matter is a trap. We got to get out of here. And I'm thinking God uses everything to serve a greater purpose. And why would our wise souls come down to earth just to get out fast? I feel after escaping and after going into the upper realms, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to hang out with the angels and escape. I transcended too much. And what I have found is that the most spiritual thing we can do is commit to being fully human and fully connected to the divine. When we focus on only ascension, we miss the opportunity to walk in our human lives. We miss the sunrise. We miss eating fruit with a child. We miss the mundane. And that's why I fell madly in love with the shamanic path, the path of earth medicine, the path of not getting up, up, and away, but the path of bringing heaven to earth, being in the body, and actually not demonizing mother matter. Mother matter, the realm temporal, meaning everything is in flux on earth. She lives, she dies. And of course, we know that energy can't be created or destroyed, but it's recycled. But in this human world, when you lose someone, you no longer have them as human. And there has been a demonization through spiritual and religious traditions through time, a demonization of the feminine, of blood, of the experience of being human. And that's caused a lot of problems. Number one is addiction, right? That's the fast track to get up and away. And if you're a person in recovery or you want to recover or you're using pot or you're using a substance and you feel that it's not good and you're overdoing it, I want you to know that this is a safe, non-judgmental place, the safest place I could make it on the internet. You are your own safe place, but I do my best to welcome you just the way you are. I really struggled with addictions. And many empathic souls who feel very deeply, who are conditioned that the body is unsafe and who have trauma that gives them a ticket to escape even more, right? There's all of these elements that play into, I don't want to be in a body. And shamanism to me was a pathway back. Shamanism to me is it's earth medicine. It's how are you eating? How are you living? How are you making love? And we are so wise as souls that we somehow thought it was a wonderful idea to be human. And the reason it's so sacred is because it's passing. And as we identify with our souls, we can experience the totality of our humanity and not miss a moment. In duality, in the yin and yang, at the center of grief is joy, right? Think about the yin and yang symbol from Taoism. Everything is in everything. There's grief and joy, there's joy and grief, and that's the duality. But there is a part of you that is transcendent beyond that. And that is soul and that is God, the part of you that never stepped into the river of time. But if you over identify with that part of you that is transcendent, you won't be able to hear the intuition in your body. Your intuition, how I understand it, is in your gut. It's in your body. It's in your womb if you have one. It's not in your tarot cards. It's not in some other teacher, right? Can you feel what I'm sharing here? That the arrow, the blinking arrow to all the answers you've ever wanted is pointing backwards at you. And a great teacher will help you trust yourself. A great teacher will make you a teacher and a leader. I don't call the people in my programs my students. It doesn't feel right. They're leaders. They're my teachers. I'm here to serve. And I'm not speaking to students. I'm speaking to teachers and leaders. Let me know if you feel that. Drop a heart below in the comments if you're on YouTube, if you feel that you are the bringer of change, that you are here to not follow the crowd, to not walk in line, but to be courageous in the name of individuality in your soul's path. And you can't hear your soul's path if you're up in the clouds. You can't hear the wisdom in your bones if you're not fully embodied. And if you feel that you've been up in the clouds, there's some practices that I will share with you. Because before we go deepening into what's our soul's highest path, it's actually creating safety again in the body. Because shamanically, what we can do when we experience trauma growing up or at any point in our lives, especially as children, we can do something called a soul split, where we actually split off from our totality. We disassociate, not because we're bad, but because we're wise and we're trying to self-protect. And so we split off, we disconnect, and now there's a piece of our soul somewhere else. And we don't feel present. And now we're numbing out because there's a hole, there's a gap, there's an opening. Healing means to become whole again. And shamanic soul retrieval is about retrieving the parts of you that fleed during a traumatic experience. And that's big and small. That is you in church feeling ashamed and recoiling on the inside and suppressing. It's big and small. There's all different levels of pain that creates the pattern of disassociation. And I really, really had a hard time with this. I did not want to be here. And I remember after I stopped smoking pot, I used sugar to disassociate, and I would be at home late at night one time in particular, and I ate a lot of sugar, and I was in the bathroom and I felt myself floating out of my body, and I felt spirits around me, and I started to panic, and I felt like I was leaving. The tether to my body started to loosen, and I started to go up into the spirit world, not in a good way, but in a disconnection way. It's not safe to disconnect. Alcohol is called spirits for a reason because when you disconnect, especially through the means of substances, you are letting things in. Your door is open. When you are opening yourself up in an unhealthy way to substances, you're creating doors and openings in your system for entities to enter, for things to take sovereignty over you, for things to disempower you. You're letting things into the driver's seat. And I did that because I was self-medicating. So I had stuff in the driver's seat and I needed to take sovereignty back. I needed to take ownership back of my vehicle, of my body, of my soul. Because I was owned by pot. I was owned by love. I felt like I didn't have my power for so long, for years. Sorry, my face is itchy. And that night when I started to float out of my body, and feel unsafe, I started singing. And I trained myself to tap my heart and to tap my legs and to repeat, I am completely safe in my body. Ashley, I'm never leaving you again. I am right here with you. I am never leaving your side, no matter what I feel, no matter what you feel, my love. I'm not leaving you today. I am with you. And I would tap and I would declare my sovereignty and presence and safety in my body once again. And this is how I trained myself to stop leaving. This is how I trained myself to stop self-abandoning and actually own my own path and to be sovereign, to be soul-led, not addiction-led, not pain-led, not comfort zone-led, but soul-led. I tapped and I sang, and I pretty much told my inner child that it's safe to come home. All healing is inner child healing. All healing is inner child healing. When you're triggered, when you start to disconnect and feel unsafe, a part of you is terrified. And so it starts to disconnect or it starts to numb out or whatever it is. And I started to speak to the part of me that was running. And I said, my love, I'm here. I'm never leaving you. And I would sit and look in the mirror and hold myself through every emotion. Children don't know how to do this automatically. And so they suppress and so they disconnect, right? But as adults, you are resourced. You have tools. You can get through pain. You can have the tools. You're not five anymore, right? And this is psychology. This is parts work. This is tools of hypnotherapy where you integrate. Heal means to become whole again. Keyword again. A trigger is an opportunity to get closer to yourself, to speak to the part of you that's afraid. When you're in a trigger, your reasoning functioning, your faculty of reasoning in your brain, in the prefrontal cortex, gets blurry. And so you got to have a mustard seed of faith. You have to like wake up because your nervous system gets hijacked and you start to panic. And now you feel that you are back when you were five, that you actually teleport. When you're triggered, you teleport to the past. You're no longer here. When you're triggered, you teleport. You go back to the trauma. And so you can actually speak to the part of you, my love, I am 29 or I am 32, or I tell your being how old you are so you can start to come back from the past and recenter. We see this with veterans, with different triggers that they have, and all of a sudden they're back in the memory. And I advise you here to get help, to have a therapist, right? To get all the support. This is just a space to go deeper. And there's so many ways. I have a hypnotherapist, I've worked with therapists, and I have people to lean on in a one-to-one space. So I encourage you to keep getting support as you're guided to. You can't hear your intuition if you're not fully in your body. So let's re-spiritualize the human experience, the feminine energy, mother matter, the temporal, a woman's menstrual cycle. That's not dirty, but it's holy. It's a holy rebirth of a woman every month where you are psychically tuned in. It's a reset, it's a death and a rebirth, your cycle, if you have one. Or maybe your partner has one, somebody you love has one, right? Did we or did we not all come from a woman? The feminine principle is the indwelling presence of God, where God dwells in the body, where God dwells in mother matter, where God isn't just up in a way, this Father God in the sky. No, to me, no. If you say God is a father, you must also say God is a mother. That's just me, though. That's my belief. The feminine principle is the indwelling presence of God, genderless, this oneness inside of matter. And so the first steps to hearing your intuition, not from a book, not from a teacher, not from your oracle cards, all of these things can be used as pathways back to yourself. And all of these things can be used as a disempowering tool to get outside yourself. Everything you could say, like I said earlier, is light and shadow. So is your oracle card giving you all the answers, or is it activating your own answers within you. And this is the path of sovereignty and empowerment, from powerlessness to power, from pain to purpose. And I'll leave you with a question. What would love do when it comes to the moment to moment decisions that we make? What would love do? Would love eat this? Would love go here? What would love do? And you can, if you have a womb, your heart, whatever it is, you can actually touch that part of your body and say, does doing blank serve my highest and greatest good? Yes or no? And in order to get the answer, you have to be as neutral as you can. Because when your river is choppy with a lot of emotional reactions, you don't see the reflection clearly. So, is going here asked specifically for my highest and greatest good, yes or no? And you start to play with your powers of knowing. You have the answers. If you believe that God's within you, then you must also believe that the path is within you, that you have it. This is a place to remember your power and to live in sovereignty. Remember, there's no perfected state. Let's do this together. Is blank, 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 is going to this yoga class tonight in my highest and greatest good, yes or no? Instead of asking up here, you ask down into your body. You ask your womb, you ask your heart, you ask your belly. And you'll start to feel what a no feels like, what a yes feels like. What does your life look like when you are awake to the truth in your body? I pray that you have an amazing week. Let me know if you loved this episode. Go use these tools, make them your own, and share them. If you loved this episode, please like, subscribe, all the things. It really helps me get the word out and continue to have the momentum within me to keep showing up in this space and building this community. And if you want to go deeper with me in containers and ceremonies and rituals in a space off of YouTube, stay tuned because I have things being created right now for you to come a little closer to this work. I love you. Have an amazing week ahead.